Well, hello there. Welcome to Gentleman's Caddy. My name is Junior. Thanks for stopping by, Junior. And as you can see right in front of you, we're going to be discussing Fred Perrin's Le Heron. Now this here is a neck knife. Now, I've had my experiences with neck knives over the years, and I've always found them to be a little bit gimmicky, not particularly useful. Many years ago I experimented with some cold steel knives, neck knives, and some Gerbers and some Bokers, and along the way I've had a love-hate relationship there with neck knives in general. I've experimented low-end, high-end, big, small, medium, what have you, and I kind of gave it up there for a while. I just didn't particularly see any useful reason to essentially carry one or use one at least at any time, let alone on an everyday carry basis, which I now do carry this Le Heron. Hopefully I didn't butcher that there. As you can tell, I'm not French. So what initially drew me into this here knife is the overall size and weight. So the overall size on this here guy is very small, which is nice for a neck knife. You want it to be as concealable and light as possible around your neck. So it's 4 inches overall, very tiny. And the overall length on the blade there, cutting surface, is about 1 3/8 inches. So very small, and in width there you have about 1 1/4 inches overall on the handle here. So it's overall very, very concealable, very small, very light around the neck. Now, as you can see, it comes here with the Kydex sheath here, which is one of the best sheaths that I've ever had on a fixed blade. It's very nice, not too hard and grippy, and not too loose. It's just perfect in terms of overall retention of the blade there. And you want to make sure that you're highly secure there on the neck there. You don't want anything falling off of you while you're walking around. And that's always been one of my gripes with the neck knife. But so far I've had 6 months use here with this here knife, and no issues to report there on the any failures to engage here or any dropouts there on the sheath. So as you can see, I put a leather cord here, replacing the paracord that it came with. So I just kind of dressed it up, essentially made it more masculine. This is a thick, heavy-duty 5mm Spanish leather that I imported here, and I upgraded that so that folds around I guess my ab area, the end of the blade. So it has a nice ability for me to go in there and grab it out if I need to access this here knife. And what I also did to here is it comes only with the blade and the sheath and the paracord, which I went and replaced. I also went ahead and added this here leather lanyard to the back end, which Fred Perrin puts there a hole there for you to add an attachment, most likely for your last 2 fingers. As you can see here, you can get a fantastic purchase here on the blade itself, but your last 2 fingers there and just kind of hang out. So I like to do this on smaller knives that I have. As you can see, I've done this, for instance, on the square head, with the last 2 fingers kind of stick out. So it just gives you that firm purchase there in hand, so your last 2 fingers don't feel left out, essentially. So I found that to be a good option for smaller knives. So overall, as you could tell, design-wise, Fred Perrin based this here design off the heron, the bird, and it kind of looks like it, doesn't it? You can see the beak here. The resemblance is uncanny. Here's the beak, here's the neck, here's the body over here, and here's the tail. Wait, birds don't have tails. So yeah, you can see the uncanny resemblance there in profile. As you can see too, aesthetically, what really does draw you in is the crackle finish here on the handle. Both sides have that. Very nice, very attractive, and it's only here on the handle, so you know you have it in hand. It's a nice finish, actually. I've never really seen this anywhere else except for here. And probably one of the reasons why you haven't is most likely manufacturers perhaps may be hesitant to add that on due to corrosion issues and things getting stuck in the finish here. But this is a very subtle, subdued. It's not particularly too extruded in there, so there's not a whole lot that gets stuck in there. Really nothing, actually. When you wipe it there clean with a cloth, that anything really comes off. And about 6 months here in use, I've not had any issues there, no corrosion issues on this here knife. Now you can tell as well that this here knife is doesn't bear any steel markings here. Now the steel here is 12C27. Now this is the first knife I have with that steel. I'm not too particularly aware of it. It is a Swedish steel, so by Sandvik, I believe. So overall, though, I've had 6 months use of it. Haven't had too much use with the cutting, as it's more or less a backup of a backup of another backup. So one of the reasons why I like the idea of a neck knife is its ability. It's essentially a backup knife, right? It's there, and hopefully you never have to use it. You don't really want to pull it out and in a situation where you need to cut anything. So it's more of like a tertiary backup, essentially. You have your primary, you have a secondary, a third, tertiary, and then you have a neck knife. You have more knives than pockets and necks to go around. So it's more predominantly a backup of a backup of another backup. And it's just a cool little knife to own. Now, like I said, I don't have any other neck knives in the collection. I've experimented with them many years ago, and I just didn't see any need or use for them. But after I've used this here fella and had it in my possession here, I really do enjoy it. And it's so light, in fact, that you don't even realize you even have it on, which is kind of scary in itself, because you can there go to sleep with it on. So let's see. That doesn't even register. It's 0. Now that it's so light, it might just be a feather. There it goes. So it's 0.7 ounces. So it's not even an ounce. And I've had pendants, on chains that were heavier than this there fella. So you don't even realize that you have it on. Now in let's say in the sheath here, it's 1.15 ounces. Still very light. And I can attest to the fact that you don't even realize you have this on. It really is light as a feather. And I don't want anything heavy around my neck or large. I mean, the overall length here with the sheath here, so 4.5 inches to the end of the blade, and then with the paracord you don't even realize that's even there. So about 7 to 8 inches there, depending on if you want to put that on there. So yeah, it's a fantastic little knife, and I've gotten so many compliments on it. I've had my shirt off and doing some yard work, and I've gotten compliments by the neighbor there. I was like, what the heck is that, a piece of jewelry? Considering it does look more jewelry than anything else. But yeah, it's a unique item. Now when I went ahead and purchased this here knife, I went ahead and bought 2 of them because I have a friend who likes neck knives, and I was going to get one for him as well. Unfortunately, they told me there was only one available, and this is the one that was obviously available, so I kept it myself. But I think this perhaps may be the last and only knife available in the United States, because I searched far and wide for the Le Heron here, and I was unfortunately unable to acquire any more than the one I have right in front of me, and it seems to be out of stock And from what I hear from multiple sources, Fred Perrin is no longer making this here knife, which I'm not sure particularly why he's not making this here knife, because I think this here is a nice, fantastic home run for Fred Perrin. I think this is actually the perfect neck knife. You want it to be light, you want it to be useful, you want it to be ergonomical. You don't want it to be bulky, you want it to be slim and sleek and obviously concealable, which this is definitely fits all those criteria. And considering it's only a single piece, you don't have any of that bulkiness that you usually, I see all the time with neck knives. They make these things so thick, either with the tight or over the steel, with a handle with slabs of either G10 or FRN or whatever they had. They go ahead and put that on there, McCarter or what have you. There's no real need for it, because you want this here thing to be light as possible, and it just makes it easier as well to clean. It's a single piece of steel. All you do is you wipe it down with a cloth, and there you go, you're good to go. It's fantastic overall. So Fred Perrin, my friend, if you're listening, I would reintroduce this here knife back into the market, because I think it's a fantastic little neck knife. Perhaps many people weren't aware of it, and I wasn't aware of it until recently, actually. So, yeah, I would, not sure why it was discontinued, but I would suggest to Fred Perrin to reactivate this here fella so more people can get their hands on it. So here's the crackle finish you could see a little bit more of. Very, very attractive blade here. I like the overall flowing lines of it. You know, matching the heron. Very nice. And it just works so fantastically in the hand. It works fantastic. And Fred Perrin has some videos up, I believe, here on the YouTube of him in using the knife in multiple applications there, both in a utility fashion, you know, using it to, you know, cut cord and cut rope, some wood, and also more of in a tactical martial arts atmosphere, which I'm not using this here knife for. More of a backup of a backup of another backup, if you know what I mean. Thanks for watching, Junior. Thank you for watching, Junior. Before you go, please like and subscribe. It helps the channel grow, and you'll be a real winner in my book. And you know what they say about winners? Winners go home and